In this video, I'm looking at the passage on page 41. This is a little more difficult than the avocado, the printer, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the other one was. Oh, the cereal stocking. Those were gradually more difficult, and then this one is even more difficult. So let's read the passage. I am going to annotate as I go, just with my highlighters, and that way I don't have to reread as many times, but you certainly don't have to do this if you don't want to. Many stores offer interest-free loans to their customers for large purchases. Generally, stores do not charge interest on these loans as long as you pay back the loans in a certain amount of time. These loans may be for 6 months, I like numbers, 12 months, 18 months, or even 2 years. And so I'm going to stop and think, what loans are they talking about? These loans, those interest-free loans. And that means that the stores do not charge interest on those loans as long as you pay them back in 6, 12, 18 months, or even 2 years. Before you can leave with your purchase, the store will check your credit history. If your credit score is high, you should have no problem arranging for a loan. If your credit is not as good as it could be, the store might charge you interest on your loan, or the store might not allow you to purchase the item on credit at all. If your credit score is low, here is what you can do to improve it. So this is the main idea of this passage. The paragraph is just giving me background information. But here comes the actual purpose of this passage. First, pay your bills on time. Did you pay any bills late? Has a company had to collect a payment from you? These factors will have a big impact on your credit score. Second, keep the balances on your credit cards low. Do you have high balances? That factor will also have a negative effect on your credit score. So first is to pay your bills on time. Second is to keep the balances on credit cards low. Third, apply for and open new credit accounts only when necessary. Now notice, it's not just open new credit accounts, it's applying for them. That also has an impact on your credit. Do not apply for a new credit card to try to lower the balances on your existing credit cards. That will probably not increase your credit score. Fourth, pay off your debt. That includes credit cards, student loans, car loans, and so on. Fifth, do not close accounts for credit cards you do not use very much. Having fewer cards but still owing the same amount of money might lower your credit score. So here are 5 steps that you can take to improve your credit score. And just for your knowledge here, let me make sure that we understand this. If you're talking about credit scores, okay, I believe the top is 900. So I don't know how low they go, but we'll just use 200 as an example. The higher the score, the better when you're talking about credit scores. So you want that number to be higher and higher and higher. So these 5 steps are designed to help you improve your credit score. Is this a sequence? Because we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but do these steps have to be done in a certain order? For example, could you do number 4, pay off your debt, before you apply for, or do not apply if that doesn't make sense? This is not a sequence. These do not have to be done in a certain order. They're just giving you 5 different ways that you can improve your credit score. Sorry about that. I was talking myself into a jam. Okay, I'm not going to do a graphic organizer for this one because we're not comparing 2 passages. Now, if I find that I need to, I can always come back and use this space, but let's take a look at the questions and see what they ask us. Number 1, based on this passage, why is having a good credit score important? A, you can close credit cards that you do not use often. That's not something we want to do. Remember, it says that you don't want to close those because that establishes a credit history. You can pay back loans more quickly. Stores will give you no interest loans for large purchases, or stores will encourage you to make more purchases. Well, remember that background information? It talked about those no interest loans. So this author is making the argument that if you have a good credit score, you can buy large purchases without having to pay interest. And that can save you a lot of money, especially on things like refrigerators and new air conditioning units, those really big purchases. You can save a lot of money if you don't have to pay interest. According to the passage, which of the following can lower your credit score? You forget to pay your student loan on time. Is that going to lower your credit score? That's going to drop. I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question. Which of these can lower your credit score? I was thinking which can raise. You take out a loan to buy a house. That could lower your credit score. You do not close credit cards you do not use. That would raise your credit score. You do not charge large purchases, large amounts on your credit cards. That's going to raise your score. So we're looking for the ones that can lower your score. So we're going to eliminate these 2 because they would raise your score. So which of these is it, according to the passage? The passage talked about forgetting to pay your loans on time. Let me just go back to that and let's look at it one more time. It's number 1. Pay your bills on time. Did you pay bills late? Okay, so that would lower your score. B is not an answer choice here because it was not in the passage. Now, a lot of people will see that answer and they'll go for it because it's true. That would affect your credit. If you take out a $300,000 loan to buy a house, your credit score is probably going to reflect that. But it was not mentioned in the passage. Okay, number 3. Which of the following can increase? So we want to go up this time. Paying your bills late, that's going to decrease. Paying off your debt, that would increase. That's a good thing. You increase the balances on your credit cards. So you charge up more debt on your credit cards. That's going to lower your credit score. You apply for several new credit cards. That's going to lower it and lower it and lower it every time you apply for a new credit card. You don't have to open the card. You could be denied credit, but that still can lower your score. So the one that could increase, the one that could help you, is this one, to pay off your debt. Okay, number 4. Why should you check your credit score before you make a large purchase? Now, let's say that I'm going to buy a new central heating unit for my house. So we're looking at maybe $5,000. And I'm deciding how I'm going to pay for that. So I check my credit score, and let's see which one of these fits. Checking your credit score will tell you whether or not you need to apply for a new credit card. Checking your credit score will guarantee that the store will let you make a large purchase. No, this is not true. Checking your score will not help you. Just knowing what your score is won't make a difference. Your score must be very good before you would get that benefit of no interest or even being able to make the purchase. So this is not it. Checking your credit score will give you an idea of whether or not the store will give you a loan. Checking your credit score will prevent you from buying something that you do not need. Well, again, just knowing your score is not going to decide whether you buy or not. So that one is not it. Which of these two was mentioned in the passage? Let's look back. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that introductory part. And it's talking about before you can leave with your purchase, your store will check your credit history. If your credit is not good, they may charge you interest, or the store might not allow you to purchase the item. So I'm reading from here. So they're telling me that the store is going to check my credit score. That is what we're looking for. Checking your credit score, just like the store will do, will give you an idea of whether or not the store will give you a loan. I would not recommend taking out a new credit card, as it talks about in A, to buy a new heating and air unit or whatever that purchase is. Again, you want it to be based on the passage, though. Not what I would do, but on what the passage leads you to believe. This was not an easy one, I think. It was definitely a little more difficult than the one about troubleshooting the printer. And you notice that these get gradually more difficult. So I suspect the next page will have an even harder one. And we'll tackle that one in the next video.